Hi, good morning, Karl Frisch.
Good morning. Don't you just wake up, and I know you wake up really, really early, but don't you wake up with a little bit more pep in your step these days?
Well, yes, but it's I spend a lot of time furrowing my brow trying to understand the latest conspiracy theories because Marjorie Taylor, she believes all of them. It's not like there's just one you can focus on. Like I hadn't heard about the Clintons killing JFK Jr. until.
Oh, yeah, they totally did it. They also killed JFK with Ted Cruz's father.
Oh,
Yeah, it's all tied together.
I thought JFK Jr. was supposed to come back at the
right.
inauguration.
Isn't that part of QAnon?
Yeah.
What makes you think he can't come back from being killed by the Clintons? I mean,
Yeah,
you guys
lots of other people have, Chris.
you need to think this through before you condemn Congresswoman Chemtrail.
I mean, Karl, I think of you and I come from these Republican families. What the actual F? I mean, I can't even imagine what my father would think.
I can tell you what your father would think.
He prosecuted Nazis. How did this all get twisted together, these crazy conspiracies with Nazis and white supremacists and, right? I mean, it's just anti-Semite, it's all together, right?
Well, your father and Barry Goldwater and Republicans of their era had something like this to contend with called the Birch Society.
Yes.
And they shunned them and said, you don't belong here. You're not serious. You will jeopardize our thinking. And we will.
Dad was chairman of the Republican Party at that time. Yeah, and the Birchers were crazy. And they knew it and they called it out, right?
And that's what these are. I mean, these people are basically the same, right? They climb onto any warped thing they can come up with to explain why they're, somehow the victim of some, and it comes down to them feeling powerless. They are powerless. They are the victim. And the only way they can be powerless and the victim, because they're very strong and virile, is if some global cabal is out to get them.
Yeah, it is crazy that they're, talking about cancel culture, and they're the ones trying to cancel Liz Cheney. And you're right, and you're absolutely right. Is we have heard for 4 years your feelings, you little snowflakes, and now just reading this QAnon shaman's begging notes for organic food in prison. And oh, by the way, did I hear that she's not going to get to take her vacation? The other rioter that was going to put a bullet in Nancy Pelosi's head.
Oh, did they change your mind?
Well, no, I think the judge hadn't actually, as of yesterday, hadn't actually signed an agreement yet, and so it was just.
It's a work bonding trip, and it's a prepaid, Judge. I'm like, seriously, Karl? I mean, wasn't she the one that I can't remember which is which? But they all basically said if they got Nancy Pelosi, they would put a bullet in their head. I mean,
they're basically all, privileged prisoners at this point.
Right.
All of these defenses are just so nutty. The ones that do make sense are the ones who are coming forward, the small percentage of them, and saying that Donald Trump told them to do this.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, Karl, is what happens next week. Because, right, their defense is, Donald Trump had nothing to do with this. It's just free speech. And all of these people are saying, no, I did it because, and they're on tape saying they did it because Donald Trump told them to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I mean, look, it'll be interesting to see what happens in regards to witnesses. I think we've already seen, because of Rand Paul's shenanigans, that there's probably not the votes for conviction. Although if Republicans were smart, they would do it. Yeah. They should be lobbying every retiring member to be voting for impeachment, because it'll serve them well to have him not able to run for office again, especially if you're a Hawley or a Ted Cruz.
I say stop helping. You're one of our best campaign strategists. Don't help them, Karl.
Well, I mean, don't you want Trump to never be able to run for office?
Yes.
I don't care how we get there. I think him not being able to run for office would be a good thing. And sometimes you have to appeal to the strange things that drive these people. These are the same senators who tell reporters on background and off the record that they can't stand Trump. They have absolutely no spine whatsoever and won't do it in public.
Well, that's the secret vote, right? Is that, most of them hate Donald Trump and stood with Liz Cheney, right? Only 60 of them voted to remove her. But what a party without principles or courage, and you're absolutely right. If you were going to, that's what I keep saying. This seems like a gift horse. Make sure Trump can't run away. He's not, run again. He's not looming over your shoulder. Look at this poll that his support among Republicans has plummeted 20 points since December. Be rid of him. So,
well, there is a tell here, right? There was a report a couple weeks ago about President Trump sending his political guy to the Hill to convey to senators that he had no intentions of starting a third party. What does that really tell you? The mob doesn't send somebody to say, don't worry, I'm a good guy. The mob sends people to make threats without making threats.
That he's jury tampering again. That's what it tells me. That
right.
He's got another illegal act on top of,
that he is trying Tony Soprano never sent anybody to, some shop about protection money saying, don't worry, Tony Soprano has no intention of breaking your kneecaps.
Yeah, I think he's frantic. You're absolutely right, Carl. First he's a bully and always has been and always will. But first he tried to bully them, tell them I'm going to start a third party. It's everything. Ukraine, everything. It starts with he tries bullying. He tries, sucking up to them. That's what he's trying. Is I'm going to start a third party, and now he's scared. I'm not going to start a third party. Don't vote against me, right? It's pathetic. This how desperate he is, and that they still go lick his boots, right? Whether it's Kevin McCarthy or it goes to Mar-a-Lago, it just looks so weak, doesn't it?
It weakens their resolve. It weakens their credibility with taking on the Biden administration, thankfully. It's good to see Biden and Senate Democrats and the House Democrats pushing forward with something bold to combat this pandemic and the economy. And Republicans are politically impotent at this point.
By the way, can you believe they stole a month from us? How were they able to do that, Carl? They stole a month. We just got the gavels yesterday. So, I say there's forget it. We're not playing by any rules now. We go full steam ahead as fast as we can on as much as we can, because how were they able to pull that off? That they delayed?
Well, I think
they're frantic to not have an attorney general because of what else is going to come out, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that this almost $2 trillion package for the economy and for COVID is an example of Democrats understanding that they have no time to waste. We know that a majority is a fleeting thing. It could go up, it could go down, disappear in the next Congress. So you've got to do everything you can to advance your agenda in the time that you have been elected for. We get reelected into a bigger majority in 2022, then you can do even more. But don't take for granted that that's going to happen.
That's right. Well, and this is, again, now they're the party of crazy QAnon Betty, who's, they're saying, oh, if you strip me of my, committees, then we're going to do the same thing to you when we get the power back in 2 years. It's like, okay, I'm fine with Democrats get stripped when they suggest assassinating fellow members of Congress. Yes, I'm fine with that. That then you can.
Yeah.
But the problem is, because they're so ridiculous, they will probably try to do it for everything, which is why we need.
Oh, you support raising taxes. You can't be on a committee.
Right. We need to double and triple down on 2022 because they will. They'll say, oh, AOC one time said, look at how they're trying to use Ilhan Omar in this resolution just because she's Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did she say? And they keep trying to use Maxine Waters, who never promoted violence. She was talking about protesting and speaking out against these people.
Right.
But they're going to use the false equivalency, aren't they?
It's almost like they're not willing to come to the table and have an honest debate based on factual information.
Thoughtful
Maybe they did learn something from Trump. Actually, it's not like they weren't doing that before.
Carl, you tweeted this. Oh, I guess it's already started. In January, Fairfax County has partnered with Innova Health to vaccinate teachers and staff of public and private schools and childcare programs. I keep saying that. That just seems like the biggest no-brainer to me in the world.
It sure does. But I'll tell you what, Trump really left a mess for this administration. They lied to the states about the number of vaccines that were available, which is created a very big problem for the states in terms of their distribution. States thought they had far more to give out at the beginning than they did. And so that really screwed things up. And you can blame Trump for that.
Yeah. Well, right. And so I'm not sure the CDC, of course, is saying they are for teachers getting vaccinated. But There's also, I think the new director of the CDC, I think made a good point in that, and this is what we've always been screaming about, is prioritizing schools. I mean, you on the school board know what I'm talking about. That should be, first of all, that's the building block of our society. Open schools first. Bars and restaurants don't need to be open.
Well, a lot of places are doing that.
But I mean, my point is the money, what the money is, you need for spacing and ventilation, right? And masking and other things first, correct?
Well, and the good news is that a lot of that is in additional supports are in this relief package from the Biden administration. I hope that every state follows the lead of places like Virginia and puts educators and school employees in the same class that they do other priority populations for vaccination. If we want things to get back to normal, the first place they have to get back to normal is in our schools.
Yes, I am chagrined to know that people that lie consistently about their age will go to the back of the line. People that have lied about how old Twitter thinks they are apparently are. Yeah, it's too late for me now.
Or how people who lie, or people, Carol Burnett who lies about how old you are.
Well, she wasn't lying. She was just being nice and clearly has impaired vision. But my point is, none of that will be a defense. Yeah, I mean, Carl, we'll talk to Dr. Redlener about this in a bit, but I mean, Dr. Fauci yesterday warning the mutant variants. It's like we're almost at the end of this horror film, and he's saying this will obviously impede our ability to get back to normal. I'm like, oh my God.
Right, it's going to spread more. But again, I mean, what this all points to is just because vaccines are rolling out does not mean you can stop social distancing. You can stop wearing your mask. You can stop doing all of these mitigation strategies we've been talking about for the last year. The only way to get beyond this is to get the vaccine as soon as you are allowed to, which, as Dr. Fauci said, when they said, which vaccine should you get? He said, whichever one you can get. Get your vaccine, continue mitigation strategies. That's the only way we're going to get through this.
Well, that's exactly my point, Carl. That's what he said, is the variants and everything we're scared about. He said it's even more reason to get more of us vaccinated quicker, because they do think there is some protection against the variants. They're just not sure yet. A lot of this is so new. They think there is some protection, and the whole point of the vaccine is it wouldn't be as deadly if, God forbid, you did get it, right?
I mean, that's the kicker that a lot of people don't realize is if you do get the vaccine, they saw that there was no hospitalization for people who contracted COVID after being vaccinated. That's a huge deal. So people need to remember that this is not just about not getting COVID. This is about making sure that if you do get COVID, it's not severe.
Yeah, exactly.